sometimes you hope that the Champions League the competition itself means something to the players. Looking at the starting lineup, I think what really sums it up is what the Dinamo Zagreb manager said before the game. He said that he'd watched the Stoke City game. Arsenal won 10-0. However, we are better than Stoke City. And the way it seemed like in our home game in the Premier League, obviously we need to put on a good team to win Premier League matches, because Premier League matches, there are no easy Premier League matches. However, I don't know if Arsenal got the memo. Us managing, over 100 Champions League games or whatever. But you should realise that in recent years especially, if there's no easy Premier League matches, there's no way there could be any easy Champions League matches. We have the best 32 club teams in Europe playing together. And that's what I didn't understand. Looking at Dinamo Zagreb's home form, it's been immaculate, it's been exceptional, especially in their domestic league. 40 home games undefeated. So clearly, you can see that we need to put on a strong side. I understand that we have the Chelsea game at Saturday, lunchtime, which isn't the ideal timing, which is why obviously he vested a couple of players, do want to injure too many players. But to make 6 changes in a game of this magnitude, it's just not on. You look at the players that he brought into the team. Ospina came in, I have no idea why. Regardless of how fatigued a player can be, goalkeepers don't tend to really be fatigued. I mean, they're goalkeepers. I think we should put on a first choice number 1. Ospina played okay-ish, but he made a couple of mistakes here and there, and I felt that a more assured presence of Petr Cech would be much more appropriate in this game. Debussy had a poor game. For the first goal, I have no idea where he was. In terms of defending as a unit, when the ball gets shifted across, the defence needs to communicate and shift across, but they did not do that. When that player had the ball slightly on the left side, there's a huge gap for their left back to go bombarding in. Arteta, he was a shadow of the form player he was, but I can't really blame him, because Arteta for most of his career, was playing as a central midfielder or an attacking central midfielder, a camp. However, now he's asked to play as CDM when he's getting older. It doesn't really make sense because he hasn't got the legs for it. If you want to play someone like an Arteta in that kind of Pirlo role, then what Pirlo has around him for Italy and what he had for when he used to play for Juventus, he had the likes of Marquisio, Vidal, Pogba, the legs basically around him who could do the running for him, and all he had to do was play make from a deep role. However, when you play Cazorla next to Arteta, 2 very similar players, you don't have that protection in front of the back 4. I felt if Arsene Wenger wanted to play Arteta in such a game, he had to play Coquelin next to him. Especially in an away game, an away Champions League game, you're playing Arteta. I mean, I can remember, the Champions League game last season against Borussia Dortmund, again Arteta had an extremely poor game. Defensively, collectively, were extremely poor in that game. But obviously in that game, the opposition were much better regardless, so I think there's more of an excuse for him that you can say, it's Borussia Dortmund, a high attacking, counter-attacking team. But this is Dinamo Zagreb, they aren't exactly the Barcelona of Europe, you know what I mean? So that was extremely shocking from Wenger's point of view. Chamberlain didn't really impress. He had a couple of good touches, but if that was his showing to stake a claim for a starting place, then I think we'll probably see Ramsey starting on Saturday. Gibbs, out of all the players who started, probably played their best. But again, nothing that will, probably replace Monreal. Obviously, he's been spectacular in left back. And then the main man himself, centre forward galore, Olivier Giroud. Where to begin with that guy? A red card away from home as a striker. I'm always the type of guy to believe a striker should never, ever get a red card. And you might be looking at me like, oh my god, what are you on about? I mean, you got players like Gary Lineker who never got booked. So I don't think that's a big thing to ask for a centre forward. Because unlike a defender or a goalkeeper where you're sometimes forced to make last ditch challenges and you might not get the ball, you might not get the ball, but you have to do it. You're defending last man, you've got a lot of defending to do. As a centre forward, there's no need for you to go in for challenges from where you're positioned. For the first one, you got booked for dissent. Think about it. This guy is 28 years old, French international, Arsenal player, he should know away from home, the crowd will get on his back. The crowd will force the referee to give bookings that he might not give. And he might say that's not fair, but that's how life goes. So Djuricic has been, okay, I got penalised for the header. It was a bit soft. However, I should just be quiet, carry on with the game, do my talking on the pitch. Before that yellow card, regardless, he didn't do his talking on the pitch. The header was a good header, got saved. He missed the tap in. His touches in the box were poor. So I think it was really his own personal frustration at himself which caused him to get that first yellow. And in the second yellow, there's no excuse. You're 30 yards outside the box, 30 yards away from goal. You have your whole team behind the ball. There's no need for you to go sticking your leg out like that. Because all you're going to do is give the referee a good excuse to send you off. And I think that second yellow was definitely a yellow card, regardless of people say. His leg was nowhere near the ball. He went across the midriff of the player. He fouled him. Other referees might giving him, a talking to, saying to him, calm down, remind him, say, you're on the yellow, calm down. But I think it's completely fair that he got the second yellow there. And then we were down 10 men, and it was especially after already being 1-0 down, it was an uphill battle from there. And then for the second goal that they quickly did was poor defending. I think even we had a corner right before that which they almost scored from. They had a corner which they almost scored from. And that was like a warning sign to the Arsenal players. But I don't know what kind of defending we do at corners. I mean, is it zonal? Is it man marking? Because what happened was Koscielny's man went towards the front post and Kieran Gibbs was there. Koscielny was in 2 man to follow him, so he didn't follow him completely. Kieran Gibbs didn't know what was going on around him. And just seemed that it was bad defending all around for that second goal. But I felt like Ozil's goal was borderline offside, but I think we just got that about right. But I felt like if he gave that Ozil one as a offside, Walker one wasn't like dissimilar, if you know what I mean, because it was very similar, like the angle which he moved from. And I felt that you either give one or the other. You can't just say, alright, one of them is offside, one of them isn't offside. Either both got to be offside or both got to be onside. I think Ozil's finish was immaculate. Jude would never been able to do something like that, being honest. And even Walker's finish was Henry-esque in a sense. Sadly, it was from nothing. However, I do feel that if somehow second place does go to, head-to-head record, that goal could be important. And that's the only positive I can take from the game, that we got an away goal. I feel that we can beat Dinamo Zagreb 2-0, 3-0 at home. We play our top team, or if we play much better than we played yesterday. So I feel that in terms of that, we can improve. And I feel somehow, I don't think we'll get first place now. I felt that we had to beat Zagreb and Olympiacos home and away. Try to win one of our games against Bayern Munich, and then hope for the best. We might get first. But we lost our first and we fell at the first hurdle. Now all we've got to do is hope for second place. And then kicked out in the last 16 like normal. I mean, there's no, will for the players. Like, it's like they don't really care. You know what I mean? Like the way they were playing it wasn't like we want to win the Champions League. We're here in this competition to win. They were just there like, we'll see what happens. We'll try and win Champions League. We'll, just see how far we can get. There's no conviction in the way we play. And I don't know, and that's Wenger's job to do. I mean, I felt he picked a good enough team to win, but you don't just pick a good enough team to play games. You play your best team that you can possibly play. I mean, I never underestimate any opposition. I mean, I think one thing Arsenal need to get out of their head, that we're not an elite team. This isn't the Invincibles team or the team of, 98 or 2002. This is a team that is not an elite team. We're not in the top 10 teams of Europe, I'm being honest. We can say coefficient, but we're not. We're not in the top 10 teams of Europe. We kick down the last 16 every season. We're consistent, but we kick down the last 16 every season. There's no point. We're not in the top 10 teams of Europe. I'm saying that now. So we can't play like that. We can't play like we can invest 6 players, expect to beat teams in Champions League, because we can't. Because we have our squad is not good enough. We aren't Barca, we aren't Bayern Munich, we aren't Real Madrid, we aren't Juventus. So you can't expect to invest this number of players and win games, and when you don't win, start panicking and saying it's unfair, we're unlucky. But I don't want to go into a rant. The only way, we can rectify this is with a win against Chelsea, but even that's looking unlikely now, especially considering Chelsea's win yesterday, 400 convincing win. And it just has the signs that somehow Chelsea will beat us, and then the turmoil at Arsenal will begin again. Try to get back to top 4, and then that'll be a successful season. And repeat next season, repeat the season after that. yeah, that's what else left to say. Apologies again, sorry. Apologies for the lack of a preview. I was extremely busy. Please, leave in the comments below. Do you think we can beat Chelsea on Saturday? But apart from that, that was an extremely bad result, and we need to have a much better performance firstly, and hopefully a much better result against Chelsea. Okay guys, that's all for today. Please leave a like, rate and subscribe if you're new. Take care guys, and peace.